World Trade Center came down during your brother's reign. Remember that.
The World Trade Center came down during his reign, so you can't say that we were safe under his reign when the World Trade Center comes down and the CIA said something like that was going to happen.
When Jeb Bush gets upset, my brother kept America safe. How did he keep us safe when the World Trade Center, during his time in office, came down? You go back, you will see the CIA and other agencies had information that bad things were going to happen, and yes, the answer is he should have known.
Excuse me, the World Trade Center came down during the, reign of George Bush, right? I mean, it came down. I'm sorry, but we weren't safe. The World Trade Center came down, which was the greatest attack in history on this country.
All right, that was Donald Trump going after President George W. Bush in recent days. And while the 43rd president is not directly responding to Trump's remarks, Vice President Dick Cheney, on the other hand, is firing back. Take a look.
He sounds like a liberal Democrat to me, Brett. He's wrong, and he's I think, deliberately promoting those views in order to advance his political interest. It's a disappointment, frankly, that he's acting that way. I haven't endorsed anybody. I don't have an axe to grind in terms of that, but I think it's misleading for him to campaign on that basis. The way he treats these issues and the people involved in it does, I think, a great service to the tremendous disservice to the tremendous record of our military and our intelligence personnel who put their lives on the line during that period of time.
All right, joining me with reaction, former New York City Mayor Rudy Giuliani. This whole idea about responsibility for bin Laden. I'm going to play a tape for you. This is Bill Clinton admitting he was offered bin Laden and that bin Laden was a threat to the United States, but he didn't have a legal justification to take him. This, to me, says everything we need to know about how we had a pre-9/11 mindset and where the mistake was made. Let's roll this tape.
Mr. bin Laden used to live in Sudan. He was expelled from Saudi Arabia in 91 and he went to Sudan. And we did a period with the Sudanese wanted America to start dealing with them again. They released him. At the time, 96, he had committed no crime against America, so I did not bring him here because we had no evidence on which to hold him. So we knew he wanted to commit crimes against America. So I pleaded with the Saudis to take him because they could have, but they thought it was an opposite, and they didn't, and that's how he wound up in Afghanistan.
He knew he wanted to commit crimes against the U.S. I had no legal justification to bring him here. Wasn't that a huge mistake?
Yeah, it was a huge mistake, but a huge mistake in retrospect. A mistake at the time. Now, what do I mean by that? We didn't understand the gravity of it until after 9/11. And I have consistently, from the day it happened, and there are very few people that have been affected by 9/11 as much as I have.
I know.
I don't hold President Clinton accountable, and I don't hold President Bush accountable. And in fact, the words that Marco Rubio used in the debate the other night, eerily, are exactly the same words I used on September 11, 2001. I grabbed Bernie Kerik's arm when the second building came down, and I said, thank God George Bush is the President of the United States. I repeated it, it's right here, at my keynote speech at the 2004 convention, and got a standing ovation. And to this day, I will tell you this. In history, George W. Bush will go down as a great president because he protected America. He, for whatever mistakes we made before, and they were mistakes, they weren't lies, they weren't misrepresentations. If President Clinton ever thought that bin Laden was that kind of threat to America, he would have attacked him. He didn't get it. Once we got it, what George W. Bush did was, within 1 month, we put them on their heels.
To my interpretation,
and that's why we were safe. We were safe. We were safe for 8 years because George Bush drove them into caves. And when you're in caves,
you can't fight.
You can't plan attacks. And what Obama did is just the opposite. Obama gave him the room to operate. And there's no way you can compare Bush and Obama.
Well, that was the other side of the mistake, where we had cities like Ramadi, Fallujah, Mosul, and Tikrit, and now they're in the hands of ISIS and all the oil, so they have more land mass and more money than any terrorist group in history.
You and I both like Donald very much. We consider him a personal friend. I also consider Jeb a personal friend, and Marco. They're all my friends. And like Vice President Cheney, I haven't picked anyone yet. But I don't like this idea of saying that George W. Bush lied. I know George W. Bush. He doesn't lie. He is about as honest a man as I've ever met. And in my view, and Democrats can go crazy if they want, I believe he was a great president.
I think what he did.
I think he was a great
I think
president.
Donald's disagreement has more to do because he disagreed, and I battled him at the time. He did not want us to go to Iraq. He was dead set against it. But now he says that now that we went there, you got to win. And then he adds the point, which I don't actually disagree with: take the oil, give it to the military.
Yes, yes, yes. And there's no question that President Bush made mistakes. The invasion, perfect. Couldn't have done it better. The occupation, a disaster.
But then they fixed it.
The surge
worked.
Ingenious.
Right.
So, end result is you hand over Iraq in pretty good shape to Obama. Now, maybe you didn't get there directly. You got there indirectly. But President Bush, with regard to protecting our country from the day after September 11 happened, which is when you would really get it, did a great job.
I want to go. You've kind of been our go-to guy on Hillary. Now that we have the Inspector General report for the intelligence community and dozens of emails on her server that were beyond top secret, they were SAP classification, special access programs. My sources tell me the FBI is going to make a criminal referral, to the Justice Department. What does that mean if they're right? Because you suspect that's going to happen too.
Well, I have sources also. I know the FBI really well, as you know.
Do you agree that that's likely to happen?
I know there are FBI agents on the case who feel very, very strongly about it. I have been told, I don't know how true it is, that if there isn't, they may very well resign.
But you heard what I heard, that a criminal referral will be made to the Justice Department.
Yes. They will recommend indictment on several counts. I don't know about Clinton Foundation, possibly even.
But they're looking into that now. That's the next phase. They already finished the email phase.
And look, this was my business more than politics. I can see the evidence. I can see standing up in court and how I could convict her.
How does she act the way she's acting?
If I were her, I'd be sitting with, the best criminal lawyer in America trying to.
If it was me, I'd hire you. That's what I would do. I'd say, I need you to work.
I don't think she'd pick me, but I'm not bad.
You'd be the right guy to. Last thing, because we got to roll. Quick word on Justice Scalia. You knew him.
Nino Scalia, I knew when I was a young lawyer, deputy to the Deputy Attorney General of the United States. He was the head of the Office of Legal Counsel. And I used to sit at meetings during the Ford administration in the Levy Justice Department, and Robert Bork and Nino Scalia would debate each other, and it was better than being in law school. And they agreed with each other, but they'd figure out a way to disagree to prove who was smarter. Except I'll tell you one thing about Nino. He played the piano, sang, greatest guy you'd ever meet.
Loved life.
And he had a political and a legal philosophy that overlapped that's going to last forever.
Originalism.
It is something, it won't always prevail, but it'll be something you're going to have to encounter 100 years from now when you're interpreting legal opinions. The man was one of our great legal geniuses.
Absolutely.
And one of our nicest people.
Good. Well said. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.